four-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty, the golden voice of Neil Rule, and the iconic Terry Foster. Sit back and relax. It's time for your daily dose of Big D energy.
What is up out there? Big D energy. Big D. Look at this guy right here. Right straight from the sound booth. Now he's here. Say it, Flannel. Darren McCarty. Big D energy on an Oak Island Tuesday. We got Rake in the chat first. You know what? I don't care if they find gold tonight, guys, because we found gold on the show. Yes, it is. 1993. Came to the Detroit Pistons, two-time NBA champion along with the 2004 Detroit Pistons. Give it up, ladies and gentlemen, joining us today on Big D Energy. Yeah, we just pulled off a little bit on the side, picked them up with the pontoon. Lindsey Hunter's here, guys. Lindsey Hunter in the house. There he is. Welcome, Linz. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks for having me, fellas.
Now, it's unfortunate anybody doesn't know, Lindsey's still around the area doing a lot of stuff. We ran into each other at the Hobnobble Gobble down at Ford Field a few weeks ago, and anytime that I realized that I can get one of the OGs, that I really didn't realize the parallels, but you were drafted in '93, came to the Pistons.
Yep.
My first year with the Wings was '93, so there's a lot of parallels as far as maybe how we were coached, how we were brought up, and we're going to get into a lot of that today. Joined as always, Spenmo Rax in the production booth, and we got JB, boys. JB knew how big it was today, so Flannel on the desk, JB in the booth. We're rocking and rolling here. I can't think of a better way. Like I said, Oak Island tonight. Make sure you're dialed in. Rake was in first. It's going to be a great show. So, Sam Flannel, welcome to the desk, kid.
Oh, thank you very much. There is one person hosting who is not a professional athlete. Can you guess who it is?
Nobody's a legend killer. And by the way, okay, little breakdown. Obviously, we got to talk. We got to talk Lions. We're going to talk some Michigan football. We're going to talk everything. We're going to go basketball centric in the second hour. And don't think I forgot. Guys, I haven't even let Lindsey in on the legend killer. I sort of told him a little bit about Sam Flannel, sort of a little bit about his takes. So I do have a question about your legend killing. And it's not me, right? But we'll get to it in the second hour. How does that sound all right to you?
Oh, that sounds great.
I'm looking forward to it. You got big shoulders, bro. With new information, what happens?
You're allowed to change your opinion. I honestly can't wait for Lindsey Hunter to hear my big one.
No, your big one, exactly. That's his big one. I see it in the chat thread here. Everybody talking in. Good morning, Tammy. Good morning, Rich, Diana, Jenna Newman. That guy, 62, Mike G, as always. Chuck Brewer, Steve Surratt. We appreciate all you guys joining us here. Neil and T. Foss will be back tomorrow, so I'm sure we will have a lot more to talk to. But, guys, I want to start here. National championship game. Obviously, we were talking about it yesterday, whether Ohio State deserved to be in, whether they didn't, whether the TCU deserved to be third, whatever. Well, the lines came out in the game. And, oh my gosh, right? Let's get ready for now. Let me ask you. Mm-hmm. When the four teams came down, right, it was Georgia 1, Michigan 2, TCU 3, and Ohio State 4. Were you okay with that 4, or did you think that the committee didn't get it right?
No, I was definitely okay with that 4. I see no problem with Ohio State getting in. They only have one loss, so I keep hearing chatter about Alabama, and I'm like, no, nonsense.
So does anything, because the one thing that Neil and I will stick to, and the one thing that doesn't sit well with me is the fact that Michigan went into Ohio State, took their lunch money, kissed their mama, right?
Oh, yeah.
And, walked out with their dog. They absolutely abused them. But in the whole scheme of things, because of being the one loss, do you think it's something that maybe because we are in the heart of Michigan territory that we don't see that the rest of the country is saying, hey guys, your Michigan team is that good?
Right, and I think you hit the nail on the head, because we're so involved and engulfed in that rivalry. We know what it means. we look at it and go, man, Michigan did come in there and spank you guys. We don't think you're worthy. But everybody in the country looks at Ohio State different. You know, it's just like us looking at USC. You know, we don't get to see them that much, so everybody says they're good, but how good are they really?
Right, no, that's a great point. Flannel, the one question I wanted to ask you that we really didn't, I don't think we touched on it yesterday. Like, are you, and like I said, the lines came out, so the Michigan's playing TCU, they're -9.5. The matchup that you got as a Michigan fan, you got to be happy with it. Or did you want to play Ohio State in the semifinals?
No, I'm happy with TCU. I honestly, as a Michigan fan, watching them just go into Columbus and beat the hell out of Ohio State, I thought that they were kind of vanquished, that Ohio State was done. So I didn't want the chance for Ohio State to sort of right the wrongs in the semifinals. If it's the national championship, that's different. But in the semifinals, I'm happy as hell that Michigan gets to play TCU. I think it's a good matchup. I think Michigan should win. And let's see what happens in the national championship game. I mean, but the thing about Ohio State is that they were the beneficiary. There are a lot of teams that had to screw up that were controlling their own destinies. USC, they lost. Tennessee lost. Who's that other team? But anywho, both of those teams lost. And they had a chance to control their own destiny, and they didn't do it. And it was Clemson. And at some point, you kind of just, by default, go in. You can't. A 2-loss team shouldn't go in over a 1-loss team. No. That's my final sort of answer on that.
So which one of these lines is more skewered? Are you worried? Sam Flannel is our sloppy Michigan guy. Are you worried about TCU at all and Max Duggan, Heisman candidate Max Duggan? Before you get there, Spenny, the four finalists, right? I'm sorry to break your heart, right? As you can see on screen. Caleb Williams, quarterback USC, -2,500 to win. Max Duggan, the quarterback that Michigan's going to face, +2,000. Oh, they threw in the old Georgia. You're number one. Here you go, Stetson Bennett, but +3,000 ain't going to win. And C.J. Stroud, Ohio State, +5,000. So pretty much, as you see, Vegas has already handed the trophy to Caleb Williams. But are you worried about the offensive firepower and the attack of TCU?
I mean, I think that TCU should be able to put some points on Michigan, but I don't think TCU will be able to stop Michigan. Their defense has been leaky all season besides the Texas game. And Michigan has that type of offense and has that type of offensive line and running game that just wears these kind of weaker defenses down after a while. And I don't think it's going to be any different with TCU. And you've also seen in the last couple of games, Michigan kind of add more of a passing element. So I think the offense is peaking at the right time. I think Donovan Edwards is stepping right in and doing an even better job than Blake Corum was doing. I'm very, very confident that Michigan is going to have no problem with TCU.
Lindsey, you're a man who has 2 championships, right? Is this not, if you are looking at this from afar, the perfect path for Michigan to win a national championship if you're going to win? Because do you agree that out of the 2 games, this should be the easier game, Michigan beating TCU, and then having to probably face Georgia, but Georgia's got to face Ohio State. Right. Are you looking, I guess, how are you looking at it? Like, does Georgia have the harder game? Do you think Ohio State has a chance in that game, or are they just going to punk Ohio State like Michigan did?
Well, it's hard to say when you play against an SEC team like Georgia, and in the past it's been Alabama. It's those teams are tough. I call them G League NFL teams because that's what the SEC is. So I think Michigan got the great draw. I think they got the perfect situation for them to win a national championship. It'll be tough for Ohio State. It's going to be tough for them to beat Georgia. So anybody that faces Georgia in this tournament is going to have their hands full.
Spenny, do you see it that way?
Yeah.
Like, as a Sparty fan, and you looking at it from the outside, but the path to a championship is sort of, if you're Michigan, you've set yourself up. Whatever we talk about schedule-wise, taking care of business, but the pathway there, right? Because the harder game is the Ohio State-Georgia game. Now, is it going to be that close of a game where Vegas has it at -6.5? Didn't that spread look Suspy?
It was a little fishy, that's for sure, but you see what LSU did and how they were able to move the ball on Georgia's defense. This isn't the Georgia defense of last year that had 7 first-round draft picks, one of the best college defenses of all time. They're still good. Like Lindsey said, they're still SEC, and that's an upper echelon compared to everybody else just based off of the amount of recruits they get. But if LSU was able to move the ball like that, Ohio State will be able to throw it around. It's Jackson Smith-Njigba isn't playing. He already declared for the draft. He's sitting out of the college football playoff. He was dealing with a hamstring injury anyways, but still, Marvin Harrison Jr. is a problem. I think he's the best receiver in college football. I think he's going to be better than his dad when it comes down to it, but this guy is the real deal, and they'll be able to move the ball. That's for sure.
Was Marvin Harrison Sr. a Hall of Famer?
Of course, yes.
Okay, listen. The Woodward heavyweights 5-7. Oh yeah, my man there, he's got the good takes. Oh, yeah. The other guy, I don't know. He's in the conversation of maybe following in his father's footsteps. Yes, he is one of the best.
Oh, he's awesome. He's awesome.
Oh yeah.
But let's go back. But is it first of all, foregone conclusion Caleb Williams wins the Heisman?
Yes, 100%.
Or is there any reason to throw money at $5 at Max Duggan? Or are you just throwing your money away?
Yeah, just throwing your money away.
Just throwing your money away. Yeah. Do you agree with that, Lindsey? Is Caleb Williams?
Yeah, I think it's a done deal.
Now, Sam Flannel, all the Michigan people in the chat thread and stuff like that. Did your boy Blake Corum get screwed?
I would argue no, actually, to the surprise of many. The problem with Blake Corum is when you get hurt and you can't have an impact on the biggest game of the season, you're out. It's the Heisman. Not everybody gets an invite. I'm very, very grateful for what Blake Corum did this year. I thought he was, up until his injury, a prime Heisman candidate and was going to get to New York, but their biggest game of the season, he couldn't really play. I mean, he got 2 carries and was out. That's the type of thing that in an exclusive club like the Heisman ceremony, if you can't play and you don't make an impact on the biggest game, you're out, and it's okay with me.
Lindsey, you mentioned something that caught my attention about talking about the SEC teams like a G League, sort of a little bit above. Is it like fair to say it immediately got me thinking back to is that a lot of us growing up in sort of smaller towns or communities playing the highest level that we can, right. But the highest level I can play is maybe A, right? These are all AAA. These are all the Honey Baked, the Little Caesars hockey programs, all these other ones. This ain't skating, at the Troy Sports Center right. With the Troy Sting and stuff like that. This is stepping up. Now, my question: is Georgia for real? Has it been something this season that there is a chink in the armor? Because I believe that they were better last year, but it's also, too, you are the defending champion. You almost know what you have. Do you see them sort of maybe, not sandbagging, but just maybe the foot off the gas during the season a little bit more? Well, expect a different team in the playoffs?
Yeah, I think it's human nature for a team that good when you win a national championship. The next year is going to be harder, and it may not necessarily be your opponent, it's yourself. And I think they struggled with that a little bit. And just to talk about, he said LSU moved the ball on him, rightfully so, because I think LSU's quarterback was he's a mobile quarterback. That guy can, he can move out of the pocket, he can create problems. CJ Stroud is not that type of quarterback. Now, we did see him run more this year, but he's not, he preferably wants to throw the ball. So I think that plays into Georgia's hands a little better.
Well, yeah, and also Georgia, when they had a chance to play their best opponent this season and their best offense, Tennessee and Hendon Hooker, they gave up 13 points. I think right. Georgia can turn it on when they want to. It's just they know that in a lot of their games they can coast. So Georgia, they should be the favorites going in. I think the only team that could beat them on their best day is Michigan. So we'll see. I think they'll get the chance. Hey, to the shock of absolutely no one. But it's true. It's objective. They have been the second best team in the country all year. If this was the BCS, it would be Georgia and Michigan for the national championship. But this Georgia team is still legit. They might not be as good as last year, but when they needed to turn it on, a lot of people were picking Tennessee, and Georgia was just like, shut them down.
Here's the question that I'm going to ask you probably a few times a week until we get to this TCU game. are you worried, or are your Wolverine fans looking past TCU?
I don't know about looking. It's tough when you have an opponent that they're favored against by 9.5 that they should beat. I think there's always an element of maybe looking ahead to maybe getting a revenge game against Georgia or a rematch against Ohio State. But this team under Jim Harbaugh in the past couple of years, they've been more focused. They've been more task-oriented. I think that he'll have them up and ready. Because remember last year, what happened? They went to the semifinals and got smashed. I think Jim Harbaugh and the players have that bitter taste in their mouth, and they don't want that to happen again. I think they'll be ready and focused.
Yeah, and, if the same thing does happen this year and Michigan ends up losing to TCU, Sam might need somebody to talk to. We got some place for you. That is SMA, or the Sports Marketing Agency. The Sports Marketing Agency helps spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. Their new podcast, This is the S Word, helps fight the stigma about seeking help. And trust me, everyone, I used to work in this field. I know that people seeking help, they have a feeling they're being judged for going forward to get that help. So that is where stigma comes from. So if you or someone you know is struggling, make sure you go to thesportsma.com to get the help you deserve.
It's back. Year 3 of Woodward Sports Stuff a Studio is here. The past 2 years, we've collected new unwrapped toys and stuffed our studio so we could hardly fit in it. This year, we're doing it even bigger. Join Woodward Sports and our whole family December 19th to the 23rd as we stuff our studio. While you're out shopping or just sitting on your couch ordering presents, make sure you grab one extra and drop it off at our studio, 15 Mile in Woodward in Birmingham. We'll be collecting toys around the clock to make sure every child in Mott's Children's Hospital feels the warmth of the holiday season. It's the time of year to do for others. Help us stuff our studio. Special thanks to all the wonderful elves at Meyer and Guardian Alarm for keeping the toys safe. Stuff a Studio 2022 with Woodward Sports.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
What's going on, everybody? It's Spencer for the Foaling Warehouse in Hamtramck, the home of the original football bowling pin game called Foaling. Multiple different ways you can play. They've got $12 open unlimited play, as well as private lane reservation for $120. If you get thirsty, they got a $2 mystery beer vending machine and multiple fully loaded bars to choose from. So make sure you go check them out in Hamtramck or visit them online at foalingwarehouse.com.
Welcome back, Big D Energy on this Oak Island Tuesday. Woo, woo, look at my guy. We got Flannel Sam from the booth to the stage. We got JB working on the ones and twos. Thanks for coming in early. Spencer Raxter and, yes, guest host, Mr. Number 1, Lindsey Hunter, yes, of the Bad Boys. I see all the questions coming through for Lindsey and stuff like that. We're going to spend the second hour hammering down some great questions, but I'm going to give a little taste here. The most proverbial one, and please appease me with this one. How many furnaces do you have in your house, sir?
How many furnaces?
Yeah.
Let's say 3.
There you go. 3 furnaces. But you know what? The difference between the champion, right, and we always bust because Neil Rule's got 2 furnaces, right, and he, is just really talks into the microphone and stuff like that. So I just wanted everybody to know the legitimacy. Right, and you always know I'm still working on the kerosene heater. So we're all good. We're all good here. We were talking about a little bit of national championship stuff like this, but I got the number 1. I'm going to lead off with the legend killer question in the second hour, but we're just going to talk some local Detroit sports. Obviously, Lions on the top of everybody's tip of their tongue. Obviously, big win. Let's go to you, Mr. Lindsey Hunter, as a guy who's been a Detroit sports fan all his life, just like I have been. What do you see out of this Detroit Lions team throughout this year? Now, I don't know if you know this or not. Do you have my clock?
I do have your clock.
Guys, remember this? So, Neil and I, Big D Energy. This is a Big D Energy clock right here. Oh, D-Mac was right. That's a good one, too. Right? 28 of 34, right? Which should be 29.
Should be 29.
That's all right. You know, boys in the back sleeping. Anyways, we put this up 2 seasons ago when Dan Campbell was hired. And I said at the end of the 2 season, we would be able to have a really good evaluation of where this team's going. Still have some games left.
Right.
I like what I'm seeing, but, you know, you've lived the Lion Dome. Right? Think about it. 1993, you and I, we used to go to the Silver Dome. Yeah. We used to, you used to be playing hoops down there when you watch Barry run around. You know, Lindsey Hunter actually beat Barry Sanders in a 20-yard race. There was no cameras back then, but allegedly that happened. He was not, Barry wasn't as good as the baseline to the foul line drills. But what's your take on these lines, bud?
I think, watching them win, was it 4 in a row now?
4 to 5.
5 in a row. They look like a team that is trending in the right direction, offensively and defensively. And I think they've gotten healthy. Watching Swift, I think he's had the most touches he's had all season, and he was really effective. Jared Goff is really kind of coming to his own. I used to always consider him, when I watched him lose the Super Bowl that year, I was yelling at everybody like, he's a one-read quarterback. He's not going to win. He can't, and he was young. So, and I think watching him develop and come into his own, he's doing a great job. And I like the way the team is trending. I love the toughness. I like Dan Campbell's simplistic, barbaric way of approaching, his team. It's funny, it's fun, it's new, and I really like him. I like what they're doing.
There's 2 things, right, that you nailed there, and you nailed Jared Goff, the quarterback. So, if anybody doesn't know, Lindsey Hunter is a diehard 49ers fan, right? So a diehard 49ers fan, and the fact that obviously the team that he has legitimacy. We were mentioning before the show talking about what a sick player Nick Bosa is and different things like that. But we got into the conversation of Jimmy G. I'm going to ask you the question that I asked you on the air right now, and I will let it be the conversation. My question is, if you had a choice, right, to get you over the hump or to win a Super Bowl with the team around, who do you take, Jared Goff or Jimmy G?
I'm taking Goff right now.
Right now, is that it? Like you said that, the way you said that is like it's a no-brainer. Can you explain why in your head, with being around not only your fandom but seeing how championship teams, even in other sports, like I'm a hockey guy, you're a basketball guy, right, but there's similarities.
Right.
Why can you win with Goff? You're telling me you can't win with Garoppolo, but why can you win with Goff? Sell me on that.
Well, I think we've seen Garoppolo in situations. We've seen him in the Super Bowl with opportunities to make the big play, and unfortunately, that's what you are. That's what you build on. If he makes that one pass in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs, we win it. He missed it. Watching the development of Goff and watching how he's become just a great pocket presence and the way he's been able to read defenses, I think him with our system, with the weapons we have, it's a no-brainer.
Is it? What do you, Sam Flannel? What do you take right there? Because that's a pretty somebody. And I haven't even got. Wait till I get to Spencer, who absolutely thinks Jared Goff and the doo-doo on the bottom of your boot are simultaneous. But Flannel, what do you think about? That's Lindsey Hunter saying that.
That is Lindsey Hunter saying that. But to me, they are the same guy. Jared Goff and Jimmy Garoppolo are kind of like the Spider-Man meme. They're both guys that you can win with. They've both been starting quarterbacks of teams that have went to the Super Bowl and lost, but you're not going to win because of them. If you build great rosters around them, which the 49ers undoubtedly have with Jimmy G, which the Rams obviously did with Jared Goff, and the Lions are trying to build now, you can go where you want to go with them, at least if you want to win a playoff game, if you want to even make the conference championship. You can win at a high level. The question is, can you win a Super Bowl with either of them? I know you mentioned the Jimmy Garoppolo Super Bowl where he missed that throw to Emmanuel Sanders. Yes. How did Jared Goff do in his Super Bowl? He led the Rams to 3 points. At least the 49ers had a chance in that game. They scored 20. So,
well, what year was that for Goff?
That was, I believe, year 3.
I think it was either year 3 or year 4.
Yeah, it was 2018, so that would have been year 3. But still, they both made the Super Bowl, and they both didn't get the job done.
Right.
And I would say that Jared Goff was a little bit more of a hindrance to his team in his Super Bowl than Jimmy Garoppolo was to his team in his Super Bowl.
You say that, although when Lindsey brings it up, I think Goff makes that pass to Samuel 19 out of 20 times, where Garoppolo makes it 15.
Yeah,
if that, what I'm saying is the situations, to your point, if you're going to, but apples to oranges,
right.
If Jared Goff quarterbacks the same, like if Jimmy Garoppolo quarterbacked that LA Rams team that Goff did, they don't win. If Goff's quarterbacked San Francisco, I believe they won. Is that a fair?
That's great. That's a great.
Is that analogy. How you look at it?
And that's how. And I'm looking at them right now. I'm looking at the development of Goff right now. I think so right now,
which is fair to your assessment of being later. Watch this, Spencer.
Yes.
You hate Jared Goff, but what do you have? What do you? But because Lindsey's giving me a pathway of what we talk about on Big D Energy about our Brad Holmes and the Detroit Lions building everything around.
Yeah.
Right. The last piece, whether it's Jared Goff or it's somebody else younger, new contract draft, whether that seems is going to be the last decision.
Yeah.
Well, when I go to Neil Rule, when he's sitting there, who's the draft capital guy, he goes, well, D-Mac, you can do that because he's on the books for 2 years already. Oh, my gosh. So the formula, what the 49ers, right, is fair to say. Sorry, Spen, you can get your Goff hate.
No, it's. I feel like this cloud of Goff hate has kind of overshot what I really think of, because I said, you can win games with Jared Goff. You can win playoff games with Jared Goff. But to win a Super Bowl, you need a complete team. And paying a quarterback $30 million who's not an elite talent is not a way to build a complete team. If Jared Goff was getting the same amount of money as Jimmy Garoppolo, no one would hear me complaining at all. Not even a chance. If he's getting under $20 million or under a year, you don't hear me complaining. But getting $30 million a year, you can't do what the 49ers did, like trade for Christian McCaffrey midseason and take on that salary.
But Spenny, what if that's the cheap end of the market? Because the market busts these quarterbacks all to the 40 plus, 50 plus, and you have this guy around, okay, 30 million, right? Comparably, right, to be able to sort of have a chance to win. You're softening up. Did anybody see after Amon-Ra St. Brown scored the touchdown the other day and he threw it at the crowd and Goff went over there and gave the ball to a little kid and fans high-fived him? Can I just say, Spenny, I see a lot of people, Sandy Dorton, Alicia Klopsauce, everybody, is Goff growing on you guys? Is he growing on you to be that he might be a piece of this?
No.
Okay.
Because I've said it multiple times. I'm not asking for Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen, because those are generational talents. I don't need the perfect quarterback. I just want elite talent somewhere, like arm strength, athleticism, something like that.
How about 340, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers?
Yeah, he also, his receivers had 3 yards of separation on every time he threw the ball.
Okay, so he's got good receivers. So again, to my point about putting all-stars around him, a healthy DJ Chark, anything like this. But doesn't it seem more and more and more as this team plays that, and I don't expect it until it is, but this guy seems, with the way that it is, more so gonna be the answer, at least for the next few years, because it doesn't cost you anything, Flannel.
I mean, it could be. The thought of that as a possibility is growing on me a tad. Just a tad.
Hey. Dude, the little legend killer Scritchy heart is growing.
I mean, I'm not saying that it's the end-all be-all. I'm just saying that what Jared Goff has done this season, he's had a very good year. The offense is playing well, and the chemistry, the sort of bond and that connection he's built with Amon-Ra St. Brown. The Jared Goff to Amon-Ra St. Brown connection is one of the most lethal in the NFL. They're perfect for each other, and it's working to perfection. Amon-Ra St. Brown is one of the best possession receivers in the league. I'd argue maybe the best at this moment.
Top 10.
Top 10, period. And Jared Goff is really, really good at throwing those short and intermediate routes. I mean, he was hitting dimes to Amon-Ra St. Brown, even to DJ Chark. So with this roster, with this receiving core, which looks to be better, and when J-Mo gets his legs under him, who knows? Jared Goff's a good quarterback. Wow. Are they going to win a Super Bowl with him?
Sounds like
I don't know.
Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, McCaffrey. But again, right, you see what they're trying to do. Yes, build. Yeah, I don't care that he didn't get done, but they execute. They execute. You know, one of the things about execution in sports comes from the coaching staff. Now I have Lindsey Hunter in here, who's been around the greatest coaches, but has also coached himself before. We're going to come back and we're going to get into his coaching side and his mind. And before I get to the break, Alicia says that she told her mom that she was going to marry Lindsey Hunter one day. Don't lie to your mom, girl. Next life, maybe. But let me tell you about free money. Because if it's free, it's for me. It'd be for you too. Lady J's, 26 of them in Metro Detroit. 160 some of them all throughout this country. Go to Lady Jane's for award-winning haircut experience and register for once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win a down payment of your dream home. Yes, $200,000, I said it. $200K towards the home of your dreams. Get to Lady Jane's today, open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Goff, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
The Sports Marketing Agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zuniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
Time to talk about Phillips. No, not American historian Ulrich Bonnell Phillips, but Michael Phillips, of course. Looking to buy or sell your home, whether you're a player or a fan, helping you buy, sell, or invest is Michael Phillips' top priority. Being in the game for 23 years makes Mike the number one option for anyone. If you have real estate needs, call Michael Phillips at 313-403-0011. That is 313-403-0011.
Ulrich Van L. Phillips. Wow, was a what?
It was a historian, and it's Bonnell, like B-O-N-N.
Oh, Bonnell.
Bonnell.
Oh, wow, even better. What year was he?
He was born in 1877 and died in 1934, but forever in our hearts.
Absolutely. Give Lindsey sitting over there laughing. I gave him a preface to Sam Flannel, and shout out to Mike Phillips. Definitely give him a call for his support here. But it got us into the Phillips train. What's some other names that you've graced the presence with?
I got a couple really good ones. There was Claiborne Hooper Phillips. Everybody, you heard of that guy,
That's
right? Claiborne Hooper Phillips, all-time great.
Yeah, and, dude, isn't he the one that invented basketball in Canada next to Naismith with the friggin' hoop?
And then we got Chaplin. Of course, you can't forget Zabarni Thorne Phillips. Zabarni Thorne Phillips.
Yep.
You don't remember Zabarni Thorne Phillips? Have you been living under a rock?
Yes, I have.
Zabarni. I've signed tons of autographs. I don't know if I've ever signed a Zabarni.
Right.
Zabarni. Darren McCarty, Flannel Sam in for both. Two guys taking up one spot for T. Foss and Neil Rule. Our guest for the day, number one, former Pistons, two-time NBA champion Lindsey Hunter. Thanks for joining us, Linz. JB's helping out, Spencer in the booth. Before the break, we were talking about, if you didn't know, that Lindsey grew up worshiping the 49ers, and he would take today's Jared Goff on his 49ers team any day over Garoppolo.
Heartbeat.
One of the things, obviously, through the illustrious career that you've played, obviously, in L.A., with Kobe. You've been a part of that dynasty. You've been around great coaching. Obviously, here in Detroit, and you've been a coach yourself. Let's talk with the Lions and everything like that, because you mentioned earlier that you like Dan Campbell's simplistic approach. But how does that work, and why are we seeing maybe the message and everybody buy into it? Can you talk about the coaching staff and how important? Because I always said when we watched the Hard Knocks and stuff like that, the fact that you have former players, right. leading through all in the football team, leading through all the development groups, right? The only guy that you don't have with that experience is your offensive coordinator, and guess what? Doesn't seem to hurt him. He's able to put up 30 more points with his offense more times than anybody else so far this season. So can you just talk about maybe why it's starting to work, and maybe why it didn't at the beginning of the year and they had to let a former player in Aubrey Pleasant go?
Right. And, at coaching, a lot of those situations are fluid. You get, sometimes you can get a hit or miss with a ex-player that can relate to the players and can still hold them accountable. Sometimes it doesn't work. It's such, the coaching world is such a crazy situation. But you see Dan Campbell now totally connecting with his team. And all the things I remember his first press conference when he was talking about biting chunks of people's legs and knees, elbows and kneecaps. I think back to hearing that and to listen to him now. Same message, a little different delivery.
We're using silverware now.
Right.
We're not being so barbaric. That's right. Right. Pull out the
simplistic
what
barbarian.
do you need the fifth fork for? Well, you'll see.
But you see it resonating with the team and how they play now. I think the biggest problem first was defensively. They couldn't stop a nosebleed. Watching the first couple of games, offensively they were phenomenal, but defensively they couldn't stop anybody. Now you see that part catching up to the offense, and now they're looking like a legitimate playoff type of team. We don't know if they'll make it, but they look the part.
Can you explain really behind that? Because as you watch, like when I watch that game, you can see not only the fundamentals, and with the defense or this team, what they're doing is that they didn't do before. Yeah, last game keeping the team out of the end zone and stuff, but they're getting turnovers and stuff. Can you as a former coach and being around with experience sort of see different places where it's clicking, right? Like when I watch certain players and stuff like this, like the Aiden Hutchinsons and the development of what was his motor's not the problem, right?
Right.
And a lot of times you find guys that's what you want. You want a guy that his motor goes all year long, right? All night long. Like yourself, like a Chris Draper, like the motor just doesn't shut up. But now it's being smarter. Do you look at it more as a system thing or individual guys progressing, and maybe talk about coaching? Because what is happening? It's not teaching old dogs new tricks. It's teaching new dogs old tricks.
Right. Well, I think it's a combination of what you just said. Younger guys being in the system for a period of time, and finally, the game slowing down for them. And that's what you see with the younger guys, especially the draft picks who are really contributing big time now defensively. Those guys are catching, the game is slowing down for them, and now they're making plays and living up to the talent, as far as where they were drafted, the expectations of them. And as a coach, that's what you love to see, because we know as coaches, people criticize coaches all the time about, well, he's not doing. Well, we know as a coach, I'm in practice every day. We're working on, stripping the ball. We're working on wrapping up on tackles. We're working on flocking to the ball as a defense. We know we're working on those things. We're not seeing the results right now. But finally, when you start seeing the results, that's when the coaches start to get a little credit, and the players actually start, doing the things that we've actually worked on.
As the non-professional athlete on this show, Sam Flannel, with what Lindsey's talking about behind the scenes, but what is the big difference to you that you see from maybe the beginning of the year or the the kneecaps, the first press conference? It hasn't been easy, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, Coming into this season, I said that the Lions had to absolutely show improvement. They had a better roster. They had another year under their belts with the coaches and coordinators, and they have. Early on in the season, it was looking pretty bleak. When it was 1-6, I was kind of just teetering on the edge of burn everything down, fire Dan Campbell, start all over. But the adjustments that they made, I mean, they fired Aubrey Pleasant. I'm not saying that that's direct correlation, but those are the type of moves that leaders need to make. You look at last year when he fired Anthony Lynn when the offense wasn't working and brought in Ben Johnson, who obviously has paid enormous dividends this season. I would say he's one of the most valuable coordinators in the NFL. It's a testament to Dan Campbell, I think, that the team didn't quit when they were 1-6. They could have. It was looking really, really bleak. We were all talking like tanks in the streets right now, but they've rallied. They won 3 in a row. They almost beat Buffalo, but they didn't hang their heads after that. They went to Ford Field next Sunday and absolutely blasted Jacksonville. One of the most complete wins I've seen a Detroit Lions team have ever. It was never in doubt. There were never any nervous moments, and they just went and pounded them. So Dan Campbell has showed a lot of improvement. There's still been a couple clock management gaffes that give me a little bit of cause for pause, but the way the team is playing, the way that their offense is playing really well under Ben Johnson, the way their defense has improved under Aaron Glenn, guys that Dan Campbell brought in, I think the future is bright. I think the present's bright. And I think that we should all have faith in Dan Campbell and this coaching staff until he proves us otherwise. He has earned that with how the team has turned it around this year.
No, I think that he absolutely has, and it's a progress, not perfection. Now, a couple of the keys, is health.
Yes.
Right? Is the fact that we see guys that are healthy. I mean, you look at DJ Chark. You mentioned, guys got separation. I hadn't seen that separation, so is that because he was injured and now he's healthy, the motivation, different things like this? When we come back from the break, I want to know what your guys' expectations are. Do you have expectations for the rest of the year, and should you? Because I absolutely think you should. Just like I absolutely think that if you need an energy drink, you should pound a Cintron.
You definitely should. You got to go Cintron. It's the only way to go, because Cintron is the official energy drink of the Detroit Red Wings. Cintron has combined all 3 of their delicious flavors into a limited edition 6-pack sampler box. Try Cintron's great tasting cranberry, classic and sugar-free, all in one pack. Pre-order your Cintron 6-pack sampler box today at cintronworld.com/Red Wings. Get energized with Cintron, and let's go Red Wings. Get dope like me.
It's back. Year 3 of Woodward Sports Stuff a Studio is here. The past 2 years, we've collected new unwrapped toys and stuffed our studio so we could hardly fit in it. This year, we're doing it even bigger. Join Woodward Sports and our whole family December 19th to the 23rd as we stuff our studio. While you're out shopping or just sitting on your couch ordering presents, make sure you grab one extra and drop it off at our studio, 15 Mile in Woodward and Birmingham. We'll be collecting toys around the clock to make sure every child in Mott's Children's Hospital feels the warmth of the holiday season. It's the time of year to do for others. Help us stuff our studio. Special thanks to all the wonderful elves at Meyer and Guardian Alarm for keeping the toys safe. Stuff a Studio 2022 with Woodward Sports.
Hi, I'm John from Better Rate Mortgage, and to me, family is more than blood. That's why I have the biggest family in Metro Detroit. If you're looking to buy a house or refinance and need a loan, come get treated better than family by me and our entire team here at Better Rate Mortgage. We pride ourselves on giving you better advice, better service, and a better loan experience. That's why we are Better Rate. If you're looking for a new mortgage, come get treated like family. Actually, better with Better Rate Mortgage. Visit us at mybetterrate.com or call at 248-480-4467 today.
You hear us talk here at Woodward Sports Network about custom health centers. You look at our boy Ryan Ermanni from the Bottom Line. Final word. Wow, that transformation. Not quite like that, but he's down 20 pounds. Because why? Because he's doing the work. Custom Health is helping him. Dr. Jason and his staff are making sure Ryan health stays on target. So if you want to take control of your health care. You want to do the work. Give Custom Health a call today, 844-789-8446. That's 844-789-8446. Dr. Jason, he'll probably answer the call too. Custom Health, if you want to get it done, like our boy Ryan Ermanni. Tell him Woodward Sports Center. Threw the last one in there for you, Spenny. Just a little curveball here. Throwing it on an Oak Island Tuesday. Don't forget, 9 o'clock tonight, we're going to find some gold. And if you're tuning in, Big D Energy, D-Mac, Flannel Sam, JB in the booth, Spencer Raxter, and our guest, yes, former Piston, former NBA two-time champion Lindsey Hunter is here. Before the break, we were talking about the Lions, development, Dan Campbell, different stuff like this. I'm going to get into expectations. Right, you got 5 games. It starts this Sunday. Minnesota coming to town, where the Detroit Lions, are sitting at 5-7 against the division-leading Minnesota Vikings at 10-2, and you are, ladies and gentlemen, a 2.5-point favorite at home. Now, what does this? To me, this tells me that the league's watching, and Vegas is watching. And the stuff that we used to do, sneak up to teams and whatever like that, the first time we can all agree, one of the 2 disappointing games this season was the Thanksgiving game against Buffalo and the Minnesota game that we thought we should have won in Minnesota. So I do not think with where this team is playing, I think Vegas is being sharp on this one because it's more of an expectations to win this game. Anyways, I'm going to make it broader. 5 games left. I expect this team, and I know that I got the clock and it's not going to go down, but legitimately they can lose 1 game.
Yeah.
Right? 1 game, whether it's 2, you can't get out of fate, karma, everything like that. If this is Minnesota's year and they're meant to do it, maybe you lose this one. The Jets game's tough. The thing is that 3 of these games are on the road.
Yeah.
Right? Which we've checked that box off that we've proven we can win on the road in this league, right? Something that we, in the past, under this coach, this regime hasn't been proven. Right. So to me, I legitimately almost expect them to go 4-1 or look at them to go 4-1 if they've made this step that I'm seeing, if they stay healthy.
Yes.
Which is number 1. So am I out of line or just 4-1? Could that be an expectation there, Legend Killer?
You are definitely not out of line. I might even go one step further and say that they could run the table. It's not outside the realm of possibility. They're favored against Minnesota this week. I don't think Minnesota should scare Detroit. Detroit played them really close on the road, probably should have won that game. The Jets, it kind of depends on which Mike White you're getting. And the Jets also have a good defense, but one thing that I saw in the Jacksonville game that it awakened something in me that I didn't even know I really had when it came to the Lions. I never was in doubt in that game. One time, that Lions offense, when they are humming, when they are healthy, is unstoppable.
Jared Goff.
Hey, Jared Goff. Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, DJ Chark looked amazing. DeAndre Swift kind of came back from the dead. Jamal Williams got another rushing touchdown to give him 14. And that offensive line kept Jared Goff upright the whole game. He had all day back there. Good teams. They beat teams by 26. Teams that are mediocre or bad, they don't beat down a team like Jacksonville. That isn't very good, but not like 26 points worse than the Lions, at least you didn't think. This Lions team can run the table. And I think if they can get through these next 2 games, Carolina, are you worried about them? It's a road game. They have a pretty good defense led by Brian Burns, but are you worried about Sam Darnold? I'm not. Are you worried about the Bears at home, who Justin Fields at that point might be shut down because they're not doing anything, and even if he is playing, that Bears defense has been morbid since they got rid of Robert Quinn and Roquan Smith. And then at Green Bay, who knows if Green Bay will have anything to play for? With the way the Lions are playing, with how they seem to be clicking on all cylinders on offense, gave up only 14 points on defense. With the schedule they have, the Lions can absolutely run the table, and I expect them, at minimum, to go 4-1.
You know what? You made a great point, because I think that this season, what it's shown, right, is there's talent, but it's staying healthy,
Right.
It's staying healthy. What do we see this game? So, do you think what are your expectations going in to these last 5 games? Because everything that you point to, Sam, right there, the word that's screaming in my head is healthy. If they're healthy, I think they are legit. What say you, Lindsey?
And you know, as well as I do, health is wealth in this sport, especially football. But I can't, in good conscience, because I'm at odds with a lot of the Lions fans, and I go back and forth with them, especially close friends of mine. We fuss and argue about the Lions and 49ers all the time. So I can't, in good faith, say that I would like to see them go 5-0. You know, I want to see them successful. But because I want to see my friends suffer, you know, I want them to go 2-3.
Absolutely. So right out, I get it, and that's fair. But let me ask you this question, right? Because what we're talking about, and we put ourselves behind the 8 ball. We talked about it, that the Giants-Washington tie the other day is the worst case scenario for us. But let me ask you this as a San Francisco 49er fan.
Right.
Are the Detroit Lions on their way, and are they one of the teams that you wouldn't want to play?
Well, absolutely.
And this is a team that you don't want to play, right, coming to playoffs because of the whole thing. If they're healthy, they are a good team. Am I?
No.
Did I step out of school and say that like they are a good team?
Well, let's say they're trending to be a good team, because I think
fair
being
enough.
a good team, you have to have a winning record, right? Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
They don't have that yet.
Okay.
It's coming.
Well, probably next year. But let's just say they're trending to be a good team. I really like the physicality that they play with. Of course, I like the offense that we're seeing every week. And they're a team you don't want to face right now, because they're like a snowball coming downhill. They're rolling and getting bigger and badder as they play. But like I said, because of other reasons outside of me loving the Lions, I do want my friends to suffer. And I do want to be able to call and them not answer because they lost.
Listen,
Ethan
Brown, I saw it in here. It's like, thank for keeping it real. And it's like, that's as real as we get it. Right? That's as real as it gets. Let me step aside a little bit, because fantasy football season, right? Didn't the regular season just end? And by the way, suck it all of you. I got a tough matchup. I got to play Maddie in the first round. But my team that I let auto-select maneuvered its way into a playoff seed. I think I got the last one, right? On the power of the last 2 weeks at quarterback, especially the last week by Jared Goff at quarterback. So, so I'm in here to put a crank in the gadget, but I think that's what you're saying. It's about the honesty to the fans, but the legitimacy on the other end as the professional in you.
Right.
That there's something there.
Definitely something there.
I mean, it's almost getting to the point, I don't want to jump the gun with my clock or whatever like this, but I'm almost putting the expectations almost in the Red Wing category for next year as it's playoffs or bust.
Oh, definitely next year is playoffs or bust. So,
not out of line for that,
right? No way. If we're sitting here next year talking about the same situation where they went 0-6 or 0-5, and then they're fighting back, then there's a problem.
Spencer, give me some clarity on this, right? Because I don't think Sam's out of line. We've said about the way that the schedule can happen. 4 wins puts us at 9.
Yeah.
Right? But we could run the board. I think it's to what we're talking about of taking care of business at hand. But are we legitimately now? Remember, we've gone through these seasons going, how many wins are they going to have? When they were 1-6, it was tough to get to 5.
Yeah.
We got to 5.
Yeah.
Are we getting to 8? No, I think
it's very possible.
I think right here's maybe this is a chat poll question, because I think that we the acceptability is 8.
Yes.
Right. Are you better than? Are you trending towards what Lindsey says and being that better team? You get to 9. If you are ahead of schedule, you're healthy and things are clicking with the way your schedule's set up, legitimacy, you legitimately can take care of 10. What I like is arguably the biggest one of these games is the first one. It's at home. where you seem to play well. It's at home where the Lions fans have showed out, where I see all those number 3s up there. Like the atmosphere in Ford Field to all the Lions fans out there has been awesome.
Electric.
So to get to this point, you've earned it. But Spencer, are you right there? Can they do it?
I planted my flag yesterday. Yeah, they can do it. They really can. I'm not going to say they will, because it's the NFL, so you lose games you shouldn't sometimes. You beat people that you shouldn't sometimes. That could happen. I think they're going to punk the Vikings this weekend. I think the Vikings are overrated. I know Justin Jefferson is probably the best receiver in football right now. Like he's like Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, whoever you want to put up there. I wouldn't blame you, but I don't think they have it on defense. And I love Kirk Cousins, Spartan Dog. You like that? Like, that's my guy, but he's not as great as he has been playing so far. I think the Vikings are kind of frauds. The Lions almost beat them at the beginning of the year. I think at home, the Lions punked the Vikings. The only game that I'm like, all right, they might lose is to the Jets in New Jersey. Because we could definitely beat the Bears and the Packers again, no doubt in my mind. But the Bears might not have Justin Fields, instant W if he doesn't play. The Packers might not have Aaron Rodgers, instant W if he doesn't play. But going to see Mike White and the Jets in New Jersey is the one that is like, okay, they might lose that one.
Well, the best part is let's take care of business and win this first game, and then we'll move on and sort of worry about that. The one thing that I don't hear is nobody's afraid of winning on the road now.
Yes.
Nobody knows. Like, everybody just throw that, we got 2, we can do it, we figured it out. I mean, it took us how long to figure it out? But then we figured it out.
I mean, it's funny what happens when you actually do it, when you go on the road and show that you can do it. I think that Dan Campbell and the team got a ton of confidence coming back at Chicago and then going to New York and playing the Giants on the road and physically dominating them from start to finish. The road should not scare the Lions anymore, and they have 3 road games left, and I think that's one of the reasons why I'm up here comfortable saying that I believe that they can run the table, and Spencer and I are comfortable saying that they absolutely can at the very least go 4-1 and make the playoffs. It's because they showed they can win on the road. That's what good teams do ultimately, is win at home and the road.
I agree, but the teams they beat on the road weren't, juggernauts, They were
Giants were 7-2.
Kind of fraudulent 7-2.
They're fraudulent, just like the Vikings. I think the Vikings are bigger frauds, but
But everybody seems to feel like the same thing as far as what a fraud these Vikings are. Yet they keep finding a way. Pick one off at the goal line last week against the Jets. Not seem to be in it. Like, if there's ever been like a 15-win team that goes out in the first round, like everybody, and this isn't just here, this is like nationally.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But to your point, Sam Flannel, this is the NFL. And things can happen at any time. Just like at lunchtime. There's only one thing can happen. And you know what, Linz? You missed out last week because these guys were here last week out front. Tell them about Maine Food Lobster Truck, bro.
Yeah, it was amazing. Shout out Cousins Maine Lobster. They fed us, and I was very happy, to say the least. But Cousins Maine Lobster brings the best of the Maine coast to Detroit. Try their variety of sweet, succulent Maine lobster menu items in their 2 food trucks rolling around the city. You can find their event schedules on cousinsmainelobster.com through their mobile app, where you can easily order ahead and earn rewards. And I'm telling you, me and Terry had that lobster grilled cheese. Whew, man, that was a hitter. So make sure you go check out Cousins Maine Lobster.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Goff, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Krogers, and if you want to know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
What's up, guys? D-Mac here for Guardian Alarm, because you know Guardian, they keep you safe and give you peace of mind, whether it's for your personal or your business, 24/7. I've been telling you, you can even be part of the Woodward Sports Big D Energy family, but here's how. I need you to call. Pick up the phone and dial 1-800.
Stay out.
That's 1-800.
Stay out.
How many straight days of flannel?
169.
169 straight days of flannel. One at the desk. That's Sam
Hey.
Flannel, Guardian Alarm, protecting his flannels. Give him a call today, 1-800.
Stay out.
Stay out.
Justin Jefferson,
Jefferson.
Kirk Cousins. We locked your ass up last time. We'll do it again.
Absolutely. Guardian Alarm, your local security experts. Tell them Woodward Sports, we sent you. Just cruising through. Getting to the top of the hour here on a Tuesday. D-Mac, Flannel, Sam, Spenmo, Rax, JB in the booth, and our guest, Lindsey Hunter. Oh, absolutely getting into this, talking about some lines, talking about coaching, talking about expectations, and stuff moving forward. One of the things I wanted to pick your brain about, Linz, is if we look at all the 4 sports teams here, right, in this town, and the guys that are putting them together. Obviously, Steve Yzerman, you hear me, #WyzerPlan 1919. If he says so, he knows best. That's it. It's not when, it's when, right?
Right.
Playoffs this year, I don't know, but you have an NHL team. I expect them playoffs next year. They're making their moves 2, 3, 4, 5 years, fighting for the Holy Grail, right? We know. Hopefully we got the right guy, and Scott Harris making some moves. Doesn't look like he's spending any money. Going to have to build the team, which are the furthest along with U75. They actually were supposed to go north. They ended up going south. They're more down in Florida. They had to turn around. We're all heading up to the UP, right?
Right.
Troy Weaver, Brad Holmes. I think Troy Weaver with the Pistons is more on the Steve Yzerman, more of the wings. Get your young guys like they did with their Siders and Raymonds. They got their Ivies and their Cunninghams, obviously Jalen Duren, signing different guys. And then the football team, Brad Holmes, proving it. What did you say? The availability. You know, the young guys buying into this message, why you're explaining a little bit in the first hour why Dan Campbell's message works, especially with younger guys. I mean, we talk about it all the time. You know, with Brad Holmes, is that he drafts guys, they play. They turn out to be good.
Yes.
Right? Give me a sense of the state where you have it for your sportsdom and with all these guys. First, do we have the right guys in charge? Maybe move into, I want to talk to you a little bit more of the Pistons and moving forward. And I guess ultimately, coaching-wise, is Dwayne Casey the right guy for this team and this job? So, first question, the overall build of all these organizations, because you lived it and you've seen it, the right direction, right guys, what do you see time frame?
I think so. I think I like what I'm seeing. I like the the way everything is forming, and like you said, with the football team, with Brad Holmes, I think his rookie class is proving that he made the right choices. Those guys are starting to play up to potential, and we're seeing a promising future from a lot of those young guys. Same thing with the Pistons. They have some young core guys that are going to be, that potentially could be part of something special. And I think that's how you have to look at it, especially when you're drafting. I've always been a big fan of drafts. Football, basketball, baseball. I watch all of the drafts just to see how people think, what formula they try to use, and but drafts are hit and miss. And one thing I learned from Pat Riley is he's the king of fixing his mistakes. If he drafts somebody that doesn't fit what he's trying to do, he'll get rid of them instantly. And I think that approach with a lot of GMs don't have that approach. He does. I've watched him draft guys, and I'm like, wow, that's a good pick. And a year later, that guy's not on the Miami Heat anymore. And you're like, what happened? Well, he didn't fit the culture. He didn't fit what we're trying to do. I move on.
Is that, do you find that, is that more of you mentioned Pat Riley. I mean, gosh darn it, one of the greatest of all time architects, back with the Lakers, the Heat, and all this stuff. Would that be more of an old school? You remember, we're old now, right?
No doubt.
Like, I don't look at it that way, but I always have to think, am I thinking too old school? Because that was the way that we were taught. If you're not going to do it, then you're not going to be here.
Right. I think it's kind of old school, but you still see people take that approach, and because everybody doesn't fit everywhere, and it's no knock on the player or the organization, but everybody doesn't fit, and you're not going to always get it right, And I think as a coach, as a GM, as anybody in a position to make decisions, you have to look at yourself and say, man, I'm not perfect. I'm not always going to get it right. I'm not always going to put my player in the perfect position to make the right play. So I have to take that onus on myself and, fix it. So, and as a player, sometimes you're just like, hey, I don't fit this system. I try to go somewhere where I can maximize my abilities. And it all has to mesh.
Does that happen more in basketball? Is that more important to figure that out, good or bad, early?
Oh, most definitely. You want to figure it out early as possible, but you can look at it in football. With the situation we had with the Lions here for years, our quarterback was tearing it up stat-wise, but then everybody kept saying, oh, well, he can't get us playoff wins. Well, he goes to L.A. and he wins the Super Bowl his first year.
Crazy.
Yeah, so that situation was one of those where, man, I'm just a move away from maximizing what I really can do.
So Matt Stafford's a prime example of put him in a different situation, and move it like that. How about this? Obviously, this Pistons team, and I think that the big thing is that sometimes you don't realize is how young these guys are.
Right.
I mean, these guys, like, we're talking about Jalen Duren and whatever. Is he 19 yet? Like, I mean, we're talking about Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey is like 21 years old that you don't remember, or don't understand, because it's changed in hockey over the years. Now you're getting younger guys, but still the young guys are 21, 22.
Right.
Is that part of the process? Because you've been behind, there, because guys are coached differently these days than we were coached, right?
Definitely. And it is. When you have a young group of guys, you can't expect them to, carry an organization right away. It's impossible. You look at Giannis. Giannis didn't even play a lot his first year. And people were like, who is he? What is he going to be? Look what he is now. And people look back and say, oh, man, the Pistons could have drafted him. Well, nobody thought he would be what he is.
I talked with the president of basketball operations for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Oh, you did you?
It was one of my sports journalism classes at MSU. He came out and he talked to us, and we got to ask him questions. And I talked to him about that draft. I was like, you guys drafted Anthony Bennett. It was like, you had a good stretch of going, Kyrie Irving, Andrew Wiggins, but then you get Anthony Bennett. Is there anything you look back and see, you could have had Giannis, you could have had Kawhi, you could have had Rudy Gobert, but definitely Giannis is the one that stands out, and he even said, he's like, nobody thought Giannis was going to be what he is right now.
Exactly. And you get those situations all the time, especially, we can look at football. Nobody thought Tom Brady would be Tom Brady. Or he wouldn't have
just Tom.
Just him, right? So those things happen all the time, and those outliers happen every single year. We just don't recognize them until they become stars. You know, so but with our young guys, it takes time. It takes time. Giannis, I think, won a championship. I think it was 27, 26, 27, something like that. He was relatively young.
So there's a fine line between expectations, between believing in them. So like if we use Giannis as an example, but Milwaukee had to believe in him enough, right? Is it like, and you've been, the one thing is you've been a player, you've won championships, but you've also been in the coaching rooms,
right?
And you've also known the expectations. So is that something as maybe as it alludes to this Pistons team, is that the time frame, even though they can get better quicker, but it's sort of like you got to let it play out even a little bit longer if you want it to be sustained.
Well, part of that is also, you know, those guys are interacting with those players. You know the type of work that those guys are putting in, and you know if a kid is busting his behind and doing everything in his power to get better, which I heard Giannis was doing, then you know that's worth it. Now, and everybody, you know, like I've heard coaches say it all the time, I'm not going to invest in you if you don't invest in yourself. You know, so if I'm watching a guy that transformed his body, that worked on his overall game, and still to this day is working his butt off to get better, you know that that's worth it.
Well, I think that, I was trying to figure out how I wanted to segue this, and it's a conversation that you and I had about the late, great Kobe Bryant, right? Where everything you're telling me right here is to that conversation. When we come back from break, we're going to get into, I'm going to ask Lindsey a couple questions, and I want him to bring back this conversation, what made Kobe Bryant, you know, so great. And do you see some of this potential greatness if the work is put in with the young guys that we have here? But first, Smitty, burgers and fries, baby. I need some burgers and fries.
Burgers and fries, man. You know where to get them, and that is Big Boy. Because for a limited time only, all new burgers and loaded fries are back at Big Boy. It's not the Slim Jim, it's the Big Jim. The chili cheese is such a tease, and guess what else is new? They got the bacon blue. Don't forget about upgrading those fries. They got chili cheese fries. They got nacho fries. They got the banger of all bangers, the baked potato fries. So make sure you go satisfy those taste buds at Big Boy.
It's back. Year 3 of Woodward Sports Stuff-A Studio is here. The past 2 years, we've collected new unwrapped toys and stuffed our studio so we could hardly fit in it. This year, we're doing it even bigger. Join Woodward Sports and our whole family December 19th to the 23rd as we stuff our studio. While you're out shopping or just sitting on your couch ordering presents, make sure you grab one extra and drop it off at our studio, 15 Mile in Woodward and Birmingham. We'll be collecting toys around the clock to make sure every child in Mott's Children's Hospital feels the warmth of the holiday season. It's the time of year to do for others. Help us stuff our studio. Special thanks to all the wonderful elves at Meyer and Guardian Alarm for keeping the toys safe. Stuff-A Studio 2022 with Woodward Sports.
When it comes to making your haircut truly an experience, there's no better place than Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Come to any one of our 26 Metro Detroit locations for an award-winning haircut experience and qualify for a chance to win a down payment for your dream home up to $200,000. Our precision haircut and talented stylists will have you looking good, feeling good, and give you a chance to change your life forever. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991. Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Spotless, sanitized rooms, and trained and certified tanning professionals. You can join the Pepper Club for all the best deals. They'll beat all the competitors by $5. $5. $5. And don't forget to pick up Australian Gold, Designer Skin, Cal Tan, and Swedish Beauty lotions. ChiliPeppersTanning.com, the hottest bulbs, hottest deals, darkest tans, your vitamin D headquarters. 27 locations and more coming. Make sure you get into Chili Peppers Tanning. Chili Peppers Tan.
Welcome back, Big D Energy. Nicely done. I'm gonna start calling you Fish Spenny on those. Like Fish, who you met, Lindsey, earlier, who does the audio for the morning show, and everybody loves that Fish Kiwi here. He's the originator of the chili peppers there. Yeah. Real high, so Spencer's always trying to get him. Anyways, Big D Energy here. Yes, right, Oak Island Tuesday. Driving the pontoon. Picked up Sam Flannel, said, you know what, kid, you started from the sound booth, now you're here. So let's go. We got JB, came in early because he's smooth. He's smooth like that. Spenmo Rats is always. Lindsey Hunter, yes. Two-time NBA champion, Detroit Piston, LA Laker, Miami Heat, all this stuff, all this greatness, Chicago Bulls even too. Got to do what you got to do. I mentioned before the break, you played with some phenomenal players. You know, throughout your career, obviously getting drafted to Detroit, and I just want to hear. You know, I'm privy to the fact that we're friends, and I get to hear some of these. But you know, a couple impressions, couple things as a kid out of coming out of college into the Detroit Pistons locker room and getting to meet play with Isaiah and Joe Dumars. I guess the question is, what the impression right off the bat, but the things that you learned from these men?
Well, just I remember coming up and working out with Joe and Isaiah, and of course I'm starstruck from the beginning, like just watching, just looking like, wow, you know, I've emulated this guy, man. I wore 11 in college because of Isaiah, you know, and just watching the professionalism and how serious they took basketball, man. It was like you could feel the passion just from workouts. And that was like, you know, as a college kid, you work hard and you do what you do. But when you see it on the highest level and from somebody that has won on every level and is one of the all-time greats, it hits a little different. You know, it makes you feel a little different and understanding what it takes to like be at that level and to have longevity. Man, it was different for me, man. And I just took all that, you know, to heart and kind of kept that along the way.
You mentioned it earlier, right? When we're talking about sometimes the player's not in the right position, right? Or the right organization.
Right.
But it seems to me, because you are a heart and soul guy, it's your motor. It's to this day why you still train kids, why you're in that gym, why I get to see videos of you, getting kids to work hard.
Right.
Is one of the reasons. Now, you've always had that work ethic and to work hard, but when you first worked out or came into the league with an Isaiah, and because he exuded that it was easy for you to pick up, that it was a no-brainer, that, okay, this is a die on the hill because this guy does it right off the bat. Do you look at it now when you're trying to teach younger guys how important that influence early on was?
Absolutely. And you know, and you and I have talked about my journey through the league and just being around different guys, coaching different guys, watching, sitting in a gym in Hawaii, watching Kobe make one move for an hour in one spot.
Yeah, talk about take them back. So when you went to LA, and then the first time when be part of the LA or whatever, you were telling me, tell a story about going out to Hawaii or going out to do workouts and stuff like this. I guess the whole point is why these guys are as great as they are is because of things like this. But it's also why you're as great as you are because of things like this, right?
Well, yeah, and it doesn't happen by chance. And I tell people all the time, I tell kids, I talk to kids every day, train kids every day, and you have to be a little nuts to be a great athlete. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. You have to be...
I'd say more on the lines to be the best of the best of any crafter. It's a psychoticness.
Exactly.
You have to
took the word right out of my mouth.
All the best... All of our best teammate, whatever, have a little bit of psycho in them.
Yes, absolutely. And I think Kobe is at the top of the pendulum when you talk about who was psychotic. He was psychotic about being great. And I've always considered myself a hard worker. And we were in Hawaii, and I told you the story. I hired one of the guys that worked at the college to kind of take me around and give me access to gyms and stuff. So I'm in the gym working out, and I go in and make 1,000 jumpers. and I'm done.
Like, no word of a lie. Guys, 1,000. Like, when he says, like, he doesn't throw out, like, say, a flannel. You ever done something 1,000 times except legend kill guys?
I don't know if I've made 1,000 jumpers in my life. So it shows what it takes to be such a high-level professional athlete, which you were, Lindsey. But like Kobe Bryant, he even worked harder than that. Like,
oh, no doubt, it was crazy because I was out shooting, and he would stick his head out. And I guess he was waiting on me to finish because he was in the weight room, and so by the time I got done, you know, I'm getting ice and I'm sitting on the side. He comes out with his guys, and you know, we talked for a second. And he got to work, and so I sat there just to watch. I was like, I'm just watching, see what he does, and for an hour he was in the mid post, working on an inside reverse pivot double pump jumper, and I'm just sitting there, and he did it for an hour. The same move, the same spot, the same shot. And I was like, so this is all he's going to do for an hour? And so I asked one of the guys, like, well, he was like, oh, yeah, he's going to probably do 4 or 5 more spots. And I'm like, for an hour each? He was like, oh, yeah, we're going to be here all day. You know? And I was blown away because I was like, okay.
Now, would you say, like, to the degree, would you say Kobe, like, as far as that was the top, but along the same lines, MJ was the same way?
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
MJ was psychotic too, yes.
The assassin's mind, the psychoticness about why they're that great is because it's almost like they have to do this, right?
Yes.
I always say the best analogy is like, if Chris Draper doesn't work out, he'll get sick. If Darren McCarty does, he'll get sick, right? But it's different. And you're more on. I always said you're like the drapes of the Pistons, like that energy, that thing. But you were willing to do the work. But it's this guys. How about a few like other guys, or like a Shaq, or like maybe. I'm not gonna throw names. I'll throw some guys out that maybe that you played with that had it, but differently. Right, because that psychoticness is different.
If Shaq had Kobe's work ethic, he would have been by far the greatest player of all
Kobe
time.
said that. Yeah. Kobe said that. Yeah, Kobe said that.
Was Shaq the most because of the size, but like he was so talented. Like
he was so dominant. I watched him one night. We were playing Golden State, and a guy by the name of Danny Fortin fouled him flagrantly. And I think it was like the second quarter, and Shaq came to the bench furious, like cursing and pushing people. Get the hell out of my way. And so Phil calms him down and was like, okay, hey, Shaq, he said, no, just give me the ball and get everybody out the damn way. And I'm sitting there like, okay. And the dude went for like 46 and 20. And it was like a video game. Yeah. And I was like, oh.
It was like NBA Jam
back in the day. It was crazy. And I'm looking at it, and we went into the locker room. And he was looking, he was just had this look on his face like, he was pissed, like he just finished fighting. And I was like, dude, if he could do that every night, we'd never lose.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, he's not going to do that every night,
But he seemed to do it when it mattered.
When it mattered, he could turn it on. I remember in the conference finals against Sacramento, Game 7 on the road, he goes, everybody's getting fired up, get in the huddle. Shaq interrupts the huddle and go, hey, just give me the ball, stay out the way, and let's go to the finals. That was his pregame speech.
Yeah. That's a statement, right?
And what did he go for?
Oh, he went for like 38 and 20. Like, we went out, and he did it, and we went to the finals.
Most dominant player I've ever seen play basketball.
Yes.
Yeah, when you're Shaq, you can do something like that because at that time, he was the best player in the NBA. He probably should have won 3 consecutive MVPs.
Steve Nash Neil says it all the time. Yeah. Steve Nash has his MVP sitting on his mantle.
But he did win 3 consecutive finals MVPs, which is even more important.
Yeah. Well, he always would say to us, he couldn't put the wear and tear on his body because he was so big.
Yeah. Yes.
So he couldn't do what we like. He was like, you little guys can run around and do all that. He said, I can't do that. I have to kind of preserve my body because it breaks down because of, you're 7'2".
How much weight is he lugging though? Like serious, like 3 city?
Right, like
you're 7'2", whatever he's on the sheet at, he's at least 40. Right, like no word of a lie.
Right, but it was amazing watching his agility at that size, how he could move, man. It was crazy. It was crazy. I've never seen anything like him. Now, I've also witnessed playing against Michael Jordan in different situations. And it was almost mystical being out on the floor against Michael. Like, it was something like almost like magical. You were like, what the heck did he just do? I mean, it was crazy to be around it, you know? He had everything. He had the athleticism, the heart, the drive, the everything. I mean, he could do whatever he wanted to do. Yeah. You know, it was amazing.
So was a guy like that? What's that?
Did you ever play against Gretzky? Because that's like Jordan Gretzky. I feel like that'd be like the same thing.
Yeah, no, I did. The best Gretzky stories that I tell is that the first time that I'm playing him or whatever, he's with LA in '93, and we're having our PK meeting, and Scotty says, Gretzky's good behind the net, but force him to his backhand. You know, got to force him to his backhand. We forced him to his backhand 3 times the first period. 3 backhand sauces for assists in the back. So even the best coach of all time could be wrong. But, yeah, Wayne Gretzky was unbelievable. I think that the one thing that I tell everybody, and I want to get your take on this Pistons team, and I want to talk about, you know, some of your glory day bad boys, or you know, going to work guys and stuff like this. But Wayne Gretzky, the toughest thing for me is like growing up where Edmonton was my second team because they were winning and stuff like this, is to be on the ice and watching Draper and Maltby just abuse him like sticks. But they're my guys or whatever like this. I could set it up. Like, it'd be one of those things where I'd be sitting after the game going, I don't know if they really needed to do that to him, you know?
Right.
And to this day, like, Gretz loves Drapes and has a lot of respect, but he hated them. Hated those two, so they must have done their job right. Hated them so much, in fact, that he had Chris Draper on Team Canada. That's what, right? The ultimate, the ultimate with respect. Anyways, we're getting lunch. Got to talk about ham and Swiss? No.
Unfortunately, no. We have to talk about Swiss Insurance today, because with the holiday season here, Swiss Insurance wants to remind you to insure those gifts of jewelry or collectibles. In the last 2 weeks, Swiss has saved its clients an average of 26% on their insurance premiums while increasing coverage. That's a lot of money to free up for the giving season. Happy Thanksgiving from Swiss Insurance, and go blue.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Goff, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
Downtown Detroit is all decked out this holiday season with the return of the Cadillac Lodge and the Monroe Street Midway. The Midway has a giant slide, winter bumper cars, and an indoor arcade. Plus, you can grab drinks at the Lodge before or after games. Shop, eat, and play downtown all winter long with Decked Out Detroit, or you could visit them online at deckedoutdetroit.com.
Come on, man. That's welcome back, Big D Energy. XYYX says everyone in sports was on roids in the 90s and 2000s. That's BS. I missed out on that. I was on a lot of other chemicals, though.
Yeah, ask
Anyways, that's D-Mac, Darren McCarty here, Big D Energy. Flannel Sam. Spend more racks, JB. Yes, that's Flannel Sam up on the booth. Why is that? Next segment. Let me just call it Legend Killing. Why? We have one of the greats, Detroit sports history, Mr. Lindsey Hunter, in here today joining us. Was just telling us about Michael Jordan, telling us about the work ethic of Kobe Bryant, that Shaq was that big and was that dominant. Sam, I open it to you. Do you have any questions, any good questions for Lindsey before we get to your Legend Killer segment?
I do have one. I know you mentioned you played with Shaq and Kobe. You played against Michael Jordan. Who is the best basketball player that you ever were on the same court with?
Oof, good question. You mean against or with or period?
Yeah, either one. Because I would say that...
I'd make it a two-parter. Yeah. Best one you played with, best one played like against.
Okay.
Against, of course, it was Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not even close.
Anybody who can make Disney World out on the court. Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
Right. And, man, playing with, it'd be Kobe and Shaq.
Of course.
You know, I can't pick either or.
Isn't it like from your description, they're both the opposite spectrum of how it's done.
Yes.
You know, to your question about who would I relate the Magic Kingdom, Michael Jordan ice, it wouldn't be Gretzky. You know who's like that? Mario Lemieux. Lemieux on the ice, and I only got to play him a few times, but he'd come back. It was different.
Yeah.
So big, so smooth, but there was like a magic. Like it was just like he might get 6 tonight. Who knows? If he wants to.
Right.
If he wants to.
Yeah, I got a question, Mr. Hunter Lindsey, if I can call you that.
Call me Lindsey.
So, obviously, you're known for being a great on-ball defender, and that is something that Troy Weaver and Dwayne Casey both challenged Jaden Ivey to be this season. Obviously, it's much different playing defense in the NBA nowadays, but it's using his athleticism, his baseline to baseline speed. What can he do to kind of improve his defense and become a good on-ball defender?
Well, I think the biggest thing, defense is just a want to. I really want to do this, and people don't know kind of my history, but I've always been a defender since I was little. So that's something that was part of me.
Yeah.
I think he has the ability, along with Killian Hayes, I think those guys have the ability to be great defenders. But like you said, the game is called so differently now. You can't, they took all the physicality out of basketball, so you can't kind of put your hands on guys like you used to be able to do. But I think there's still a room for guys to be great defenders, and I think these guys have that athleticism to do it. They just have to keep working at it and adjusting to the rules.
Is that frustrating? I find that frustrating because I can't teach you the tricks to the trade. And sort of, to you play defense sort of like me throwing a punch. It's just natural. Right? But the fact is, like, now when you're teaching, like, your son or you're teaching some of these younger kids, what is, because you got it, because all the games have evolved, right?
Yes,
like, I mean, for me, my benefit isn't anything I can teach you on the ice. It's the mentality of I can teach you, how to prepare and what to think and different things like that.
Right.
Like, how does that take away? Because I got to think you figured out the way the rules were back in the day, being a little bit smaller, you could get away with more.
Oh, definitely. I fouled every single possession.
I need that cut. Lindsey Hunter on your basketball career. I fouled every single possession.
No, seriously, I did. Honestly. And I would tell people, like, oh, yeah, I fouled every single possession. I said, but I know the refs know me. They know how I play. They know my approach to the game. So they're not going to call every foul. So whoever I'm guarding, you're going to get fouled every single time that I'm guarding you. And the refs, he may call 2 in a row, but I guarantee you after the first 2, you're going to get beat up the rest of the night. I get away with it.
Now, is that still in the game or is that gone?
I think it still is. I think it's just you have to be smarter in how you approach it, because if I was playing in today's game, I would do the same thing. I would just figure out another way to do it. Like when they took handshaking out and they were like, oh, you can use your forearm. Oh, okay, I started doing that. When they took that away, you can't use your forearm. So I said, okay, how can I fix? So now I started using my chest. So I would foul you with my chest and my arms. So there's always a way to figure out around it. If you just have to mentally dive into it and say, okay, there's a way to cheat the game. How can I cheat the game? And that's how I did it.
So in your opinion, I'm going to ask this, is with the young guys, so do you like the young core in the in the Durens, in the Cunninghams.
Absolutely.
In the Ivies.
Absolutely.
You know, where you like Sadiq Bey.
I love their young core.
Like Killian Hayes.
Yes, I think
what we saw to Killian Hayes, where he had to be sort of take more responsibility in that Dallas game on the road. Is there something that he can draw from that, and some consistency maybe we can see from that? Is that
I think when you have success, you have to draw from that. You have to understand, man. I think the last 5 games, he's averaged almost 16 points a game.
Yeah, 16, 7.4, 3.6 rebounds.
Yeah, so he's had some great success, lately, and you have to draw from that. And I think part of that is I think he's more comfortable starting. He's been playing better starting than coming off the bench. I don't know the correlation to it, but just watching, I can tell he plays better when he was starting. But he has to figure out how to bottle that up and channel that energy and kind of have that same effect regardless to the situation he's in. And if he can do that, then man, he can be very successful and add a lot to this team, especially when Cade comes back. Cade comes back.
Right. Now, from the conversation, I'm assuming that, obviously Troy Weaver is the right guy for this Pistons team, putting this team together. In your opinion, is Dwayne Casey the right guy to get these guys to the next level? Or because you've been coached by a lot of different guys, and I think just when you brought up the same thing as people that are drafted might not be in the right fit as a player in their team.
Right.
Sometimes coaching can be the same sort of way.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So maybe just because what you've learned, you brought up Pat Riley. I mean, some of the other guys that people aren't familiar that you've been around, the Phil Jacksons and the Larry Browns and all these divisive minds. So I guess do you see Dwayne Casey being the guy for this team, or do they need more of this guy or he was like this?
I think the jury's still out because I think the team is so young and he has a lot of, of course, new young pieces. We have to give them time to see how they grow together, if they can grow together, if he can get through to those guys, if they're willing to be coached. It's a different league now. You're listening to guys have disputes about their star players. I was, on my way here, or I don't know if it was ESPN, Trae Young is having problems with his coach down in Atlanta.
Did you see that? Because I don't like you. No, I'm not playing. Are you hurt? No, I don't like you.
Yeah, it was.
Was it Nate McMillan?
Yeah, Nate McMillan. Yeah. So
Did you play against Nate McMillan?
Yes.
So is he like? I don't know. Is he that sort of like like the abrasiveness?
So I've never been around him coaching guys. As a player, I knew how he was as a player. But they were successful. They've had success. So I don't know what is going on with the dynamics of Trae and Nate because, before Nate, they had a younger coach that clashed with Trae. And he ended up leaving. So now they got Nate, and I thought it was all good. They played well, made some great – they got the conference finals one year.
Yeah.
So you would think that they were trending in the right direction. But you never know, man. This league, it's a players' league now. And when you have a guy, one of your max contract guys, not feeling good, you have to make that work.
So I guess my question to you then is, where is my patience on my Pistons fandom? So it's not just this year. I got to give them next year too.
Yeah, I think it's the same approach you have with the Lions.
Okay.
I think you have to wait because it's 82 games. It's a lot of games. It's a lot of games, and with Cade being out, that changed the dynamics of the team. I think with him, I think they're a different team. Now, you're bringing Killian back off the bench, where I think he can help be a spark plug. Duren is really. I'm excited about Duren. I think his ceiling is ridiculous. I think he can be a monster. At 19 years old with a body like a grown man, athleticism off the charts.
You know who told me this too? Down the twirl, Earl Cureton.
Yes.
He said when I said to him, I said, anybody at he's like, the Duren kid.
Oh, just you watch certain players, they jump out at you. Like he has certain plays that you'll watch and he'll go get a block and you're like, holy crap. Did he just block that?
He's got old school. Doesn't he have some old? So the boys, the Rasheed Wallaces, the Ben Wall, or the Rasheed and Ben Wallaces, they would figure that out when they would like that sort of guy.
Yes.
Oh, because they'd like him. All right. Guess what? It's the time I've been waiting for since last night when I found out Lindsey was going to be on the show. We're going to put the Legend Killer to task live in studio when we come back. But let me hear about Moneyball first. Nothing get me fired up like Moneyball.
Yeah, I just had to wear the shirt today. Greatest defender of all time. I just had to do it. Had to throw it on. I knew what was going down. But if you want to get some great swag like this, you could go to Moneyball, because Moneyball Sportswear is your one-stop shop. Whether you want the latest look in athletic apparel or you need new uniforms for your team, Moneyball has it all. Stop in the Moneyball showroom in Southfield and experience the only way to ball. Or visit moneyballsportswear.com. It's Moneyball, the only way to ball.
It's back. Year 3 of Woodward Sports Stuff a Studio is here. The past 2 years, we've collected new unwrapped toys and stuffed our studio so we could hardly fit in it. This year, we're doing it even bigger. Join Woodward Sports and our whole family December 19th to the 23rd as we stuff our studio. While you're out shopping or just sitting on your couch ordering presents, make sure you grab one extra and drop it off at our studio, 15 Mile in Woodward and Birmingham. We'll be collecting toys around the clock to make sure every child in Mott's Children's Hospital feels the warmth of the holiday season. It's the time of year to do for others. Help us stuff our studio. Special thanks to all the wonderful elves at Meyer and Guardian Alarm for keeping the toys safe. Stuff a Studio 2022 with Woodward Sports.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991. Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
Planet Fitness is the official studio sponsor of Woodward Sports, also home of the Judgment-Free Zone, where you can work out for only $10 a month or upgrade to the Black Card for unlimited guest privileges, hydro massage, and more. Join in club today or go to planetfitness.com. It's Planet Fitness, where Darren McCarty.
Where your fitness is essential, always. All right, welcome back, Big D Energy, D-Mac, Flannel Sam, JB in the booth, Spencer Rax, Lindsey Hunter here, and this is the time we're going to give you the origin story of the Legend Killer. Spenmo, take it away.
Yes, so as Big D Energy fans have known, there have been multiple instances of legends being killed by none other than Sam Flannel. We had our own Darren McCarty's legend be killed, saying that he was more lucky to play with players like Steve Yzerman and Lidstrom, and those cups weren't as much of his point, but they were theirs. And then we have the infamous one, the one that started it all. About the man on my shirt right now.
This got him the graphic. This got him the album cover. This got him the graphic.
The best defensive player in the history of the NBA, Sir Ben Wallace.
Sir Ben Wallace.
Who Sam Flannel is on record saying does not deserve.
Let's not speak for him. Now that we have Lindsey Hunter, one of Ben's teammates, other championship guy with him, right? Please.
I will be calling him after this. I will be calling him after this show too. To let him.
I'm sure. Yes, we got him. I'm going to call him on different things. We got relate. Anyways, go ahead.
You know what? You might be the person to bounce this off of. because you played with him.
Oh, jeez.
I believe that Ben Wallace should not be in the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Keep going.
I'm choking.
I know, dude. That's why Mass brought you the water. But continue with the kill.
Oh, God.
Yes. Okay, so in my opinion, I mean, I don't even think this is opinion. I think this is fact. Of all of the people, of all of the players who are in the Basketball Hall of Fame, Ben Wallace is the single worst at putting the ball through the hoop and scoring. 5.7 points per game for his career, 9.6 rebounds. Every stop he has made in his career, except for Detroit, where he was a phenomenal defender and a worthy all-star, he was terrible. He was terrible on Orlando. He was terrible on the Bulls. He was terrible in his second stint with the Pistons. This is just, I think we can all agree on this. If the going-to-work Pistons do not win the championship in 2004, nobody's on the Hall of Fame on that team.
Wait, but we did.
Okay, fair. I'm gonna get.
And
to
the
it.
fact that what was done was done.
But
to your point, is your point to Lindsey because of his offensive ability when we're talking about the greatest defensive player of all times? Is that what it is? Because you just don't think that anybody with those offensive stats, it's the punter kicker in the NFL Hall of Fame.
Well, first off, he's not the best defensive player of all time. I think Hakeem Olajuwon, Bill Russell, Tim Duncan, Dennis Rodman, they might have something to say about that. Just for the record, although he is an all-time great defender. My thing with the championship and the
Good. Top 5 is usually in the Hall of Fame in the career. I'm just wondering how many named out because I agree with them, but then, okay.
In the 2004 finals, this narrative has been perpetuated, which I think is just blasphemous on a million different levels, that Ben Wallace shut down Shaq. Shaq was the only one in that series who was balling. If anybody on the Lakers played a terrible series, it was Kobe. And you never hear about Tayshaun Prince getting enough credit for locking his ass up. Shaq balled out. He averaged 26 and 11 in that series on 63% shooting. In one game, he got 34 and 11. And a lot of people would say, oh, but Ben Wallace was able to kind of lock him one-on-one, which no one else could do. I think a lot of centers could have held Shaq to 34 and 11 and 36 and 20. The only game where Kobe played well, game 2, the Lakers actually won. Ben Wallace did not shut down Shaq in any way, shape, or form. Ben Wallace was not the main reason that they won that finals. He was a very important piece on that team, but why isn't Chauncey in? Why isn't Rip in? Why is it just Ben Wallace? That is something that has boggled my mind to this day. But Lindsey, as someone who's played with him, what makes Ben Wallace so valuable? I can see that you obviously disagree wholeheartedly with me.
With everything you just said.
Okay, fair enough.
Hey, Linz, I told you this. Trust me. You'll have fun at some point.
Look, no.
Will you please?
I knew this was coming. I didn't know it was Ben, but when he said that Tom Brady was the luckiest player to ever play football, I was like, something's crazy.
You see last night's game?
This man said Tom Brady's the luckiest.
Can you show the people the album cover?
I will.
Because this is his greatest hits. This is why the Legend Killer has his own album, bro. Right? Why he's the Legend Killer. Can you please respond or just maybe with some personal feelings from playing there, being there? And Sam, I like how you asked that. Yes. Maybe you're missing. Oh, wow. Stuff in everybody who's watching at home, that's called a block.
That is a block.
All right, go ahead, Liz.
Well, just listening to you, I'm almost speechless. I'm really looking at you like, man, I just need to take you to a basketball game, and you sit right next to me so I can kind of teach you the different aspects of basketball. Because if it was just an offensive game, if we were just purely going on offense, there would be a lot of guys in the Hall of Fame who could just score, right?
Sure.
That and I'm not even quantifying winning in it. Let's just say we didn't win the 2004 championship. Ben still has how many Defensive Player of the Year?
Four.
How many people have that many?
Nobody.
One.
Or is it?
How many?
Ben and I got 4 rings.
Yes,
Ben's got 4 Player of the Years. I mean, that's
how many people have that many?
Just one. Just him.
Just 10.
Yeah.
So you can argue that he's probably top 3 greatest defenders of all time.
I still would.
You have 4 defensive players.
Sam loves the Tom Masaway, Bill Russell, 1950s guys that
played against mailmen.
You can't guys who were born before you.
Yeah,
played before you were born.
So have you ever looked at Bill Russell's stats?
Yes, I've looked at Bill Russell's stats.
Were they amazing?
No, not counting stats. They weren't, but they were better than Ben Wallace's counting stats.
Yeah, but he only played against 10 teams.
That's true. But Ben Wallace objectively was horrible at offense. He was one of the worst offensive players I've ever seen. I'm just saying.
Well, I'll give you what, if that's your opinion. You saw him, I think he scored in the finals, he scored 17 points, 18 points in a game, right?
Oh,
hitting
man.
jumpers. You remember?
Give him a cookie. Is his
in the finals. In the finals.
17, 18 points.
In the finals.
Take a bow, Ben Wallace.
In the
Take
finals.
a bow. Shaq scored 36 and 20 on him.
As your shutdown guy, that's you know what he's saying is D-Mac scored the Stanley Cup clinching goal in '97 in Game 4 of the clincher, which is like you're saying. My question to you: how many times was Ben Wallace asked to put the ball in the hole?
We've never asked him.
Never asked. That was usually his 18 points in that playoff game is because everybody else was shut down.
So I want you to go back and look at his college stats, okay?
Virginia Union. Yeah, he was. Obviously at Virginia Union he put up numbers.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, at Virginia Union.
So here's my point. I was top 2 in the country scoring when I was in college, right?
Sure.
27 points a game.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't do that in the NBA because there were guys better than me. I wasn't asked to do that.
I know, but nobody's arguing that Lindsey Hunter's a Hall of Famer.
No, but yet and still, I didn't have 4 Defensive Player of the Years. If I did, I would be argued as a Hall of Famer.
Dikembe Mutombo might have 4.
But I don't think he's a Hall of Famer either, just for the record. I'm just saying, I
you
do
just
think...
don't like defensive players.
No.
You just don't like defense.
That's not true.
Let's just say you want the Hall of Fame to be glitz and glamour with all the guys that score the points and get the fame, and you don't want the dirty work guys.
No, not all. My thing is, I do think Ben Wallace was a worthy All-Star. I think he was a worthy All-NBA second and third team. I'm not discounting that. The Hall of Fame is an exclusive club. I know in basketball it's easier to get in because it's the Basketball Hall of Fame. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. I would put Ben Wallace in Hall of really, really good. I would put Chauncey in the Hall of Fame over him.
What?
Are you disrespecting Chauncey now?
Chauncey? No. You're disrespecting Ben.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not disrespecting Chauncey, but you would put Chauncey in before Ben?
Absolutely.
On what merit?
He was the Finals MVP.
Okay, that's one.
He was great in Denver. He was.
Whoa. He was great in Denver?
Yes, he was.
What is that? How do you quantify that? He was great in Denver.
He was the best.
What did he do in Denver? Did they win a championship? Did they get to the finals?
They got the farthest of Carmelo he's ever gotten
they
because
didn't get anywhere.
Oh, they got the furthest.
The furthest.
And you get it. Hey.
We don't win the championship without Ben Wallace.
I agree with you.
What are you saying?
I'm saying that he's not the biggest reason that you guys won the championship.
He
obviously
was the heart and soul of the Pistons.
The heart and soul.
Just
That's
like
not
you
Hall
are the
of Fame.
heart and soul of the haters.
There it is. What a perfect segue.
That was a bar.
Absolutely. See now you get a little taste of what you're dealing with here. I gotta get to Alta because you know what? Legend killing matters and Alta uptime matters. Alta Equipment does everything you need to get the job done. Have a bog project coming up. Alta Rent, they got you covered. Call them today 844 go to Alta. That's 844 go to Alta.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Goff, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
For a limited time only, all new burgers and loaded fries at Big Boy. It's not a Slim Jim, it's the Big Jim. The chili cheese is such a tease. Guess what else is new? The bacon blue. How about upgrading those fries? Chili cheese fries, baked potato fries, nacho fries, what will it be? Satisfy those taste buds at Big Boy.
My name is Lee. I've lost 35 pounds on the Custom Health Center program. So the 3 biggest benefits that I've gotten from this program has been I'm not snoring anymore, I have a lot of energy, it's great, And oh, by the way, look at this. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
Call us at 844-789-THIN or visit customhealthcenters.com for a free consultation and get started for as little as $5 a day.
Final segment here, Big D Energy. Darren McCarty, the Hall of Fame of haters, the legend killer, Sam Flannel. We got our boy Lindsey Hunter, JB, and Spenmo Racks. You just got named the Hall of Fame of haters, bro.
That was a bar.
And to your point, right, where you said, like, sometimes don't forget, right? You can have all you want for Chauncey, right? But don't disrespect Ben in the process.
Yes.
I'm not disrespected. I said he deserved Defensive Player of the Years and All-Stars, but not Hall of Fame. I'm just saying.
You have my wife texting me. She told me to tell you.
Okay.
She said, stop looking at stats and look at the game.
Facts.
Stats are important.
Mic drop.
Stats are important. People act like stats are not
Stats are
important.
for losers.
Rings are for champions. That's the worst
Rings.
take you've ever had of all time, D-Bag. Stats are for losers.
So
Stats
stats
are
are
for
for losers.
No,
I agree. Statistics have their place.
Yes.
No, they do.
And you know,
but they don't tell the story.
No, they don't tell the story. With the analytical age that we have dawned into, I was part of the beginning of that in Phoenix, where I met with our analytical team. So our analytical team put together a draft board without looking at film. They had Damian Lillard as a bust.
Oof. They were wrong.
They were absolutely wrong.
They were absolutely
but they
wrong.
only looked at numbers.
Did anybody looking with numbers? I know there's a correlation with everything, right?
Right.
As far as, finding what the motor is, finding everything else. How about a couple? We got a few minutes left here, and I know I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Spenny's favorite basketball player of all time, and not because he was attuned to it, but I'm talking about Rasheed Wallace.
Yes.
Talk about, like, because to me, when the move was made for Sheed, right, it just sort of, like, brought everything tight. Where you say the heart of soul was Ben, but it's just sort of like that tying the knot, and we have a saying in hockey where it's as if it's an imaginary rope around, and everybody grabs the rope, and everybody ropes, and everybody rides, and everybody's in it together. Was he?
She galvanized everything that we had, and just kind of like you said, pulled everything together. And he was the one missing piece that put us over the top. Ben was our heart and soul. We went as he went. There were nights, and I could tell you right now, we were sitting a couple of times on he would come in. I knew a game he was going to have a great game. He would come and say, "I feel good tonight." And for a stretch of like 5 minutes, he would get his hand on every basketball that came off the rim. That I was like, "This is amazing." Like, I was like, "Do you see this guy?" So some of the things that he didn't quantify in statistics. He was unbelievable. And to your point, you said, Shaq averaged 26 and what?
11.
Well, our game plan was not to double Shaq. We wanted him to score. So we didn't care if he got 30. We just, it took a toll on Ben because he had to guard that big guy. But that was our game plan. He did what we wanted him to do. We wanted him to average 30. We wanted Kobe to average 30. Nobody else was going to score. So they could only get 60 points.
I mean, that's fair, but like if he
No,
was
that's fact.
If he was still giving up those numbers,
That's not fair. That's fact. I might be stealing that.
But for the record, Kobe was awful in those finals. And
Well, there's a reason.
But
Kobe
why
was
is
off.
that? Why? Because he got shut down? Because he probably gets triple teamed?
But it's always about Ben Wallace. It's never, Tayshaun locked Kobe up like he was in jail.
No, we locked Kobe up.
Fair,
it wasn't just Tayshaun.
Fair enough, but like you're giving Ben Wallace credit for guarding Shaq one-on-one and holding him to 26 and 11.
Because nobody could do that. I played with Shaq when he averaged over 30 in the finals.
I guess, Lindsey, the question would be, if it wasn't Ben Wallace playing Shaq one-on-one where Shaq averaged 26 or 28, what would somebody not named Ben Wallace guarding him there? Shaq would have gone for 50.
He would have destroyed.
Right?
He would have demolished.
What I'm trying to get you to understand, right, and the whole point of having just the blessing of having Lindsey to come in here is there's so many things. And Mama called in and she said it.
Mama Ivy called in on you.
Watching the game, but being a part of it and the intricacies and the ebbs and flows, which is so much harder.
And that's even like, obviously, I've never been on that level of any sport. You know, I am a Division III IM basketball champion in Michigan State.
That's okay. You got donut eating competitions under your belt.
We went 13-0. I was the point forward. It was good, but. Some of my earliest memories of sporting games. My dad was a mailman in Rochester for 30 plus years, and he had a doctor on his route that had season tickets 2 rows behind the Pistons bench, and he would give my dad some tickets, and he'd take me to the game, and we went and saw the Going to Work Pistons. And I remember seeing a game in the Palace, Going to Work Pistons versus Shaq and Kobe Lakers, and like seeing being 10 feet from Shaq, I'm like, holy shit, like this guy. And then seeing Ben Wallace fight with him for 4 quarters.
Dude,
it's different.
Hey, Shaquille O'Neal. So when we fly into LA, right? Mike, the bus driver, right? So the same bussy Mike, that drives, would pick up the visiting teams, right? So he'd drive the Lakers to the airport and whatever like this. Shaq gave him a pair of shoes. We stood in the back and I have a size 12 shoe. I had my dress shoe on, and I put Shaquille O'Neal's basketball shoe on with my dress shoe on.
Yes.
That's how big it is, and walked around with them.
So you didn't tell them a story about your jersey, did you?
Oh, no, please. Oh, I didn't. This is a great part. Why, and a little extra time for everybody at home here. This will be a good clip one. So why D-Mac is such a Lindsey Hunter fan is because of this here.
So my wife, Ivy, we were moving. And I had all my jerseys that were signed and stuff like that. And so the movers took one of my hockey jerseys, and they left with it.
Well, the wife said, "Oh, well, here,
you can have it."
Not knowing you could have it.
So the guys came back and was like, "Miss Hunter, we can't call your husband and see." So she calls me, and I'm like, "Well, I was giving him this jersey." I said, "What jersey?" He said it was Darren McCarty. I was like, what? Get that back from me. I said, no way. So I had a signed Darren McCarty jersey that the movers were trying to swindle me out of.
The wife tried to give it away. The movers said, we better check with Mr. Lindsey. And then from day one, so Legend Killer, you got a long ways to go. He's going to call Ben. He's got me in the back pocket. Anyways, thank you guys out there for this pontoon ride on a Tuesday. Flannel Sam, great job. Spencer, JB, appreciate you. Lindsey, gonna have to do it again.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, give us some feedback. See if we want Lindsey in here a little bit more often around Woodward Sports Network. So, Terry, Neil, be back tomorrow like I always say. We'll see you then. Deuces.